It was one of those books that did just sort of, as you say, you sat down and it flowed when you wrote it. It's just very, very rarely with my pictures. I usually do 100 pictures to make it look like I've done it in 5 minutes. It takes a long time to have that kind of, to make something look effortless. But with this book, it did just come out, which was amazing. So I think this is the very, very, very first sketch that I did when I met the two characters, Lizzie and her dad. Terrible drawing, and they're sort of holding hands, but her arm's all wrong. But I just wanted that touch. And then if we go on to the next slide, you can see that it's kind of, in that very first sketch, I think I sort of had them already. They were there and immediate, and they look the same as they do throughout the book. And that's the sketch that ended up on the cover. The first initial drawing you do is usually, for me, they're usually the best. And I've only recently learned how to use Photoshop sort of fully, but I realised that I was never gonna, with my dad's a Birdman, I was never gonna be able to draw that picture again. I tried 100, you get your beautiful bit of watercolour paper out, and then you go, right, I'm ready to do the best picture I've done, and it's as wooden as, it's dead, just doesn't work. So it was through necessity that I came up with this method of going, okay, I've got a computer, I've got a scanner, I'm going to keep this picture, scan it in, clean it up, print it out, then paint on top of it. If I make a mistake, I can do it again. And there was, I just sort of invented that way of working. I don't do it with every book. It was that particular book that I think most illustrators find that there's a fear of the blank page. As soon as you get out of your sketchbook, you can seize up, and it's just it gives you freedom. And I think it's that's what computers are for, aren't they? That you've got to use them as a tool to help your work be the best it can be. My sketchbooks have changed over the years. When I first started out, they were maybe more beautiful, and I would sit and draw a scene and make it all look nice. And I remember when I was really small, I used to have like somebody on the front page saying, "Welcome to my sketchbook." And then, almost as if there was a reader and I was inviting them in, and I was, this is a place for you to come and read. Whereas now I'm less self-conscious, and they're very much scribbling places where the other people maybe wouldn't know what was going on, but just little notes, little drawings, little things that interest me. There was something about collaging his wings that made them maybe more magical, and he did make them out of bits and bobs and feathers he found in the garden, and I somehow felt that collaging onto the picture would make them feel like they were maybe otherworldly. It's sort of mark making and textures, photocopied objects. I just collect just bits of paper, scraps of paper, insides of envelopes, and I have done for years. And for the reason I collage bits and other bits and not some bits, it's instinct really. I just play. It's almost like you get to know the characters as you write them, isn't it? As you sort of, they start and then they talk. I think when they come to life, they talk back to you, and it's the same with the drawings. You kind of, at first I draw a character 100 times, and then there's one that I recognise. I was like, oh, there you are, that's what you look like. I didn't know what you looked like. And then that character comes out at the same time each time.